Hello there, and welcome to the Sleepy Science Channel. I'm so glad you found your way here tonight. Maybe today felt long and full, the kind of day that leaves a gentle heaviness behind your eyes. Or maybe you're simply someone who enjoys falling asleep to quiet ideas instead of silence. Either way, this moment is just for you. Imagine, if you like, that you've stepped into a warm greenhouse at dusk. The light is low and golden. The air feels gekuft, carrying the faint scent of leaves and damp soil after rain. Nothing is moving quickly here. Nothing is waiting for you. You don't need to focus, or remember, or understand anything at all. You can simply rest. You can let your breathing slow. You can let your body grow heavy, as if gravity itself has softened just for the night. Tonight, we'll be talking about plants, not in a busy or demanding way, but in the same way you might notice a tree outside your window without really thinking about it. Plants have always been quiet companions in human life. They grow patiently beside roads and buildings. They rest on windowsills and stretch gently toward the light. They ask for very little, and they never seem to be in a hurry. Plants don't worry about tomorrow. They don't replay the past. They don't rush toward any finish line. They simply grow when conditions allow, rest when they need to, and remain still when stillness is enough. That makes them perfect guides for sleep. As we move through these gentle facts together, you might notice your thoughts drifting. That's completely fine. You might miss a sentence or a whole idea. That's fine too. Nothing here needs to be held on to. If you're new here, know that you're always welcome. This channel exists for nights just like this, nights when rest feels important, or when your mind needs something soft to settle into. And if you find yourself enjoying this quiet journey, you may choose to return another evening. You may even subscribe if that feels right. But there's no obligation at all. The only goal tonight is rest. As we go on, imagine we're taking a slow walk through forests, gardens, and small green corners of the world. Each fact is like a leaf on a long branch. You don't need to count them. You don't need to follow them closely. Just let them pass by one, the way clouds drift across the sky when you're lying down and looking up. So, get comfortable now. Let your shoulders soften. Let your jaw loosen. There's nothing left to do today. Tonight, we'll explore some of the most relaxing facts about plants, how they grow, how they rest, how they quietly shape the world around us. And while we do, you can simply be here or not be here at all, as sleep arrives in its own gentle time. Even plants seem to know where the light feels kindest. Without eyes or thoughts, many plants slowly bend toward brightness through a process called phototropism. If you've ever noticed a houseplant leaning toward a window, it can feel almost like it's listening for something gentle and familiar. The sunlight doesn't force the plant to move. It simply arrives, quietly, day after day, and the plant responds in its own unhurried time. Growth here isn't about urgency or ambition. It's about comfort, about turning, little by little, toward what feels warm and sustaining. There's no rush in this motion. Sometimes it takes days, sometimes weeks, and that's perfectly fine. The light waits. The plant waits too, moving only as much as it needs to, reminding us that gentle guidance is often enough. Long before clocks existed, plants learned the rhythm of night and morning. Some plants open their leaves or flowers during the day, then slowly fold them back at night, almost like sleepy hands coming together. These daily rhythms follow light and darkness, creating a soft internal timing that doesn't require counting minutes or hours. When night arrives, many plants rest without resistance. They don't fight the dark or worry about the morning. They simply pause. There's something comforting about that. The idea that rest is not earned, but natural. As plants respond to these cycles, they show us that slowing down is part of living, not a break from it. And beneath all of this visible motion, there's even more happening quietly, out of sight. What you see above the soil is only a small part of a plant's story. Beneath the surface, roots often spread wider and deeper than the leaves and stems above. They grow slowly, patiently, like careful hands exploring the dark. This underground world is calm and steady, hidden from view but essential. Roots anchor plants in place. They search gently for water and nutrients, supporting everything that grows upward. Most of a plant's life happens here, unseen and uncelebrated. There's something soothing about knowing that so much important work can happen quietly, without attention. And these roots don't exist alone. Sometimes they reach out and connect with others nearby. In some forests, the ground itself is quietly connected. Through underground networks formed with fungi, plants can share nutrients and subtle signals. It's sometimes described as a kind of forest conversation, though it happens without words or awareness. Roots link together, exchanging what's available, helping where they can. There's no intention behind this sharing, no kindness as we think of it. And yet, it happens. Cooperation without thought, support without recognition. The forest thrives not because any single plant tries harder than the rest, but because connection exists beneath the surface. These hidden networks support plants not just for moments, but for years, sometimes for centuries. Some plants remember centuries simply by standing still. Certain trees, like bristlecone pines, can live for thousands of years. While generations of animals and people pass by, these trees remain, quietly growing ring by ring. Time flows past them like a slow river, and they do not hurry to meet it. Their long lives are shaped by patience rather than speed. They endure storms, cold, heat, and silence, not by rushing forward, but by staying where they are. When you think about that kind of longevity, it becomes clear that strength doesn't always look active or dramatic. Often, it looks very still. Growing slowly can sometimes mean growing strong. Many of the most resilient plants build themselves gradually, forming dense wood and sturdy structures over long periods of time. Inside a tree, each ring marks a season. Calm, steady breaths taken year after year. There's no failure in this slowness, no falling behind. Slow growth allows plants to adapt, to deepen, to last. And as we continue on through these gentle botanical wonders, that quiet reassurance stays with us. Taking your time is not a weakness. Sometimes it's exactly what makes something endure. Every leaf is quietly collecting light. Sunlight doesn't rush through a leaf, it lingers. Leaves act like soft green sails, opening themselves to the day and allowing light to settle gently on their surface. Inside, without sound or effort, that light is transformed into energy through photosynthesis. There are no sparks, no sudden movements, just a slow, steady exchange between sun and leaf. It's a reminder that transformation doesn't have to feel dramatic to be real. Energy can be made gently, without strain, without urgency. The leaf never hurries the light along. It accepts what arrives, using only what it needs, and letting the rest pass quietly into the air. There's a reason green feels easy on the eyes. Plants wear green like a soft blanket, and forests become wide oceans of calm color. Chlorophyll reflects green light, giving plants their familiar shade, and that reflected green seems to offer visual rest. When your eyes settle on green leaves, there's nothing sharp or demanding there. The color feels balanced, steady, and forgiving. Nature seems to have chosen gentleness, offering a hue that doesn't overwhelm or pull attention too tightly. Green doesn't insist on being noticed. It simply exists, inviting your gaze to relax, the way your body relaxes when it knows it's safe to rest. Plants don't hurry into change. As seasons shift, leaves loosen their grip slowly, colors fading like long sunsets rather than sudden endings. Growth eases into rest. Bright greens soften into golds and browns, and nothing about this process feels rushed. Even endings in nature are unhurried. There's no single moment when a season snaps into another. Instead, change drifts in quietly, one cooler night at a time. Watching plants move through these cycles reminds us that letting go doesn't need to feel sharp. It can happen gently, almost without noticing, as one phase gives way to the next. Some plants rest without disappearing. During colder or drier times, many plants enter dormancy, pausing visible growth while remaining very much alive. Trees seem still. Seeds sleep beneath the soil, and everything slows down. Stillness doesn't mean nothing is happening. Inside roots and stems, quiet processes continue, preparing for a future moment when conditions feel right again. Dormancy is a form of rest, not absence. It's nature's permission to pause without guilt, to gather strength quietly, and to trust that rest itself has value. Some seeds are very good at waiting. Time doesn't rush a seed. Certain seeds can remain dormant for years, even decades, holding their potential inside a small shell. They are like tiny time capsules, patient and unbothered by the passing seasons above them. There's no anxiety in this waiting, no need to hurry toward growth. The seed simply stays ready, responding only when warmth, moisture, and light align. It's a quiet lesson in trust, in knowing that readiness doesn't require constant movement. and that waiting can be an active, peaceful state. Sometimes all it takes is water. Rain doesn't force growth, it invites it. When moisture reaches dry soil, seeds awaken, roots stretch, and life begins to move again. The soil almost seems to sigh, welcoming the change. Water arrives gently, soaking in rather than demanding attention. Growth follows naturally, without pressure. Nourishment here feels like kindness, not effort. And as this gentle awakening unfolds, it leads us toward the unseen gifts plants offer next, drifting invisibly through the air around us. Plants give without announcing it. Through photosynthesis, they release oxygen into the air as a quiet byproduct of simply being alive. Forests breathe out invisibly, filling the atmosphere with something essential, without awareness or reward. Every breath you take carries a quiet thank you from leaves you may never see. There's something deeply calming about that kind of giving. Support offered continuously, without effort, without expectation. Oxygen drifts softly, unnoticed most of the time, reminding us that some of the most important gifts arrive silently. Some plants save their scent for the evening. As night settles in, subtle fragrances begin to drift through the air. Smell travels more gently than sound, arriving softly, like a memory you didn't ask for, but welcome anyway. Plant scents don't demand attention. They linger briefly, then fade. In the dark, these fragrances feel especially comforting, as if the night itself is being gently filled with presence. Even when unseen, plants continue to offer quiet signals of life, carried on the still air. Not all beauty prefers daylight. Some flowers wait for quiet, opening only after the sun has set. Moonlit petals unfold slowly, reflecting pale light, like stars resting among leaves. These nocturnal blooms aren't in competition with the day. They thrive in darkness, welcoming night pollinators who move just as gently. There's something reassuring in knowing that beauty doesn't disappear when the lights go out. Sometimes it simply changes its timing. Pollination doesn't need instructions. Bees, moths, and other pollinators drift from plant to plant, often without intention, carrying pollen as they go. Life continues through this quiet cooperation, shared without planning or awareness. No one is directing the process. It unfolds naturally, a gentle exchange that benefits everyone involved. Movement here is soft, almost accidental, like thoughts wandering before sleep. From these small interactions, entire landscapes are sustained. The world is fuller than it seems. There are hundreds of thousands of plant species on Earth, each with its own shape, rhythm, and place. Endless variations of leaves and stems fill forests, fields, and sidewalks alike. Much of this abundance goes unnoticed, and that's okay. Richness doesn't need to be loud. Knowing that life exists everywhere in so many forms can feel strangely comforting, like realizing you're surrounded by quiet company. Small doesn't mean unimportant. Mosses, tiny grasses, and barely noticeable plants play essential roles in ecosystems. They hold soil in place, retain moisture, and create homes for smaller life. These soft green carpets spread without attention, caring for the land simply by being there. Even the quietest plants matter. Even the smallest presence has purpose. And as this gentle understanding settles in, the journey naturally slows, preparing us for a deeper pause ahead. For a moment now, there's nothing to follow and nothing to remember. Imagine sitting on a quiet bench in a garden or lying beneath tall trees as night settles in. The air is still. Tall grass moves just slightly with the breeze, then becomes still again. You might notice your breathing slowing on its own, without effort, in and out, gently, quietly. Plants never ask for attention, and neither does this moment. You don't need to hold on to any details. You can let them fade, the way sounds soften as you drift closer to sleep. Everything here is safe. Everything can rest. And when you're ready, the walk continues without needing to announce itself. Nature seems to enjoy soft patterns. Many plants grow following gentle spirals, a quiet geometry known as phyllotaxis. You can see it in the unfurling of a fern, each coil slowly loosening like a sleepy scroll opening itself to the world. These patterns aren't planned or measured. They emerge naturally, guiding leaves and seeds into arrangements that feel balanced and calm. There are no strict rules being followed, just a rhythm repeating itself over time. Order appears without intention, reminding us that structure doesn't always need control. Sometimes, beauty forms simply because life moves slowly and consistently. Balance can be found without effort. Many flowers grow with a natural symmetry, their petals arranged evenly around a center, like calm mandalas resting in the open air. Whether radial or mirrored side to side, this balance feels soothing to look at. Nothing seems pulled too far in one direction. Everything rests where it belongs. Symmetry here isn't perfection, it's comfort, a visual sense of equilibrium that asks nothing of the observer. Your eyes can settle without searching, just as the flower settles into its shape without strain. Some leaves seem designed for fingertips. Without looking, you can often tell one plant from another simply by touch. Some leaves feel like velvet, others like paper, some smooth as silk. These textures are quiet reminders that plants are experienced not only with the eyes, but through gentle contact. Touch can be grounding, bringing attention softly into the present moment. Each texture carries a small memory, a sensory detail that doesn't need words. From touch, the experience drifts naturally into sound. Plants don't speak, but they do rustle. When the wind moves through leaves and stems, it creates soft sounds, whispers, sighs, gentle brushing. The wind brings plants into quiet motion, and for a moment, the landscape seems to breathe. These sounds don't carry messages. They don't demand meaning. They exist like natural white noise, steady and calming, filling the space without interrupting it. And just as easily as sound appears, it fades again. Most of a plant's life is very quiet. Long stretches pass without movement or noise. Gardens at dawn stand still, shadows resting where they fall. Stillness here isn't empty. It's full in its own way, holding life without displaying it. Silence becomes a presence rather than an absence. In this quiet, endurance takes shape, a steady being that doesn't require constant action. Plants rarely resist the wind. When storms pass through, grass bends, branches sway, leaves turn and flutter. Instead of fighting, plants yield, allowing force to move through them rather than against them. Bending can be a form of wisdom. Flexibility becomes strength. When the wind calms, plants rise again, unchanged in purpose. This quiet resilience prepares the way for deeper stories of time, landscape, and rest still ahead. Life doesn't always choose comfort. Even in unlikely places, something grows. Plants can be found clinging to rocky cliffs, spreading across dry deserts, and surviving in frozen tundra where the ground barely softens. Small patches of green appear where it seems nothing should live, holding on quietly without complaint. There's no drama in this survival, no struggle made visible, just presence. Roots find tiny cracks, leaves adjust to wind and sun. Growth happens because it can, not because it must prove anything. In these harsh places, plants remind us that resilience doesn't always look loud or heroic. Sometimes it's simply staying, quietly, exactly where you are. Some plants carry their own patience. In deserts, where rain is rare, cacti store water inside thick, fleshy stems, holding it like a long, careful breath. Water sleeps inside green walls, saved for when it's truly needed. There's no panic here, no rushing to use everything at once. The cactus doesn't worry about the next storm. It prepares calmly, trusting that what it has is enough for now. This kind of readiness feels peaceful, preparedness without anxiety, strength built slowly over time. In the cold, plants stay close. Many Arctic plants grow low to the ground, hugging the earth for warmth and protection from harsh winds. Staying small becomes a form of wisdom. Sometimes survival means staying low, sheltered by snow and soil. These plants don't try to rise above their surroundings. They blend in, conserve heat, and endure. There's humility in this kind of growth, a reminder that safety and success don't always require standing tall. Plants rarely rush. In challenging climates, growth often happens only during brief windows when conditions are just right. Buds wait like held breaths, ready but unforced. Timing can matter more than speed. When warmth arrives, plants respond, not all at once, not hurriedly, but fully. Then, when conditions fade, they pause again. This patience feels deeply aligned with nature, a rhythm of action and rest that doesn't resist reality. Movement doesn't always announce itself. Some plants move so slowly that we rarely notice at all. Leaves adjust their angles. Stems lean toward light. Tendrils curl, almost imperceptibly. Like shadows shifting across a wall, change happens quietly. Even still, things are moving, just on a different time scale. This slow dance reminds us that transformation doesn't need urgency. It can happen gently, in the background, without drawing attention. Plants don't think, but they do respond. They sense light, gravity, moisture, and even touch, adjusting their growth accordingly. Awareness doesn't always need a mind. Roots grow downward, shoots reach upward, leaves turn toward warmth. This simple responsiveness exists without worry or anticipation, just presence. And as this quiet sensitivity unfolds, it gently leads us closer to rest and to another pause ahead. Climbing doesn't require haste. Vines reach upward slowly, one small hold at a time, wrapping gently around supports they happen to find. There's no leap, no sudden grasp, just patient progress. Like hands finding balance in the dark, vines test, adjust, and continue. Growth here is made of many small efforts, each one barely noticeable on its own. And yet, over time, they rise. This kind of movement feels reassuring, reminding us that steady progress doesn't need speed. Not everything needs height. Some plants choose breadth instead. Grasses spread wide across fields through runners and dense clumps, forming soft waves that move together in the wind. Quiet persistence allows them to cover vast spaces without standing tall. There's no competition for the sky here, just gentle expansion, creating landscapes that feel open and calm. Fields exist because grasses keep going, slowly and evenly, without ambition. Forests feel different for a reason. Beneath a canopy of trees, air cools, moisture lingers, and sounds soften. Leaves slow the wind. Shade settles like a blanket. Trees create calm microclimates simply by standing together. Under trees, the world softens. This collective presence turns harsh sunlight into dappled glow and heat into something manageable. Calm isn't forced. It emerges naturally when many lives exist in quiet balance. Some plants are very good at slowing things down. Wetland plants absorb and hold water, filtering it through roots and stems. Marshes act like sponges, allowing water to rest instead of rushing onward. Water likes to linger around roots, moving at its own gentle pace. Slowness here creates balance, protecting landscapes from floods and dryness alike. It's another reminder that slowing isn't stopping, it's stabilizing. Some plants let water carry them. Water lilies and other aquatic plants float gently on the surface, their leaves resting like small plates on still ponds. Reflections drift around them, undisturbed. Floating becomes a way of living, trusting the support beneath without needing to sink or struggle. These plants remain anchored lightly below, calm above and below the surface. What holds us steady is often unseen. Deep roots reach far into the dark soil, anchoring plants against storms and drought. Depth brings calm. While leaves move with wind and weather, roots remain firm, quietly holding everything in place. This hidden foundation prepares us for another pause, another gentle breath, before the journey continues. Dusk is settling now, gently, the way it always does. Imagine a quiet forest after sunset, where shapes begin to blur and details soften at the edges. Leaves barely move. The air feels thicker, calmer. Roots hold everything steady beneath the surface, unseen and reliable. If your thoughts are wandering, that's perfectly okay. If they fade entirely, that's okay too. There's nothing to hold on to here. Breathing becomes the only rhythm that matters now. Slow, steady, natural. Darkness doesn't need to be feared. It's a place of rest. And as the light continues to dim, the walk doesn't stop. It simply grows quieter. Standing near trees often feels cooler, Plants have a way of softening heat, offering shade, like a cool hand resting on warm skin. Leaves intercept sunlight, breaking its intensity into gentle patterns, while trees release moisture into the air, quietly lowering the surrounding temperature. Relief arrives without effort. You don't need to ask for it. It's simply there, created by presence alone. Under trees, the air feels easier to breathe, and that sense of ease carries naturally into the spaces we create for ourselves. A single plant can change a room. Some calm arrives without sound, settling into corners where leaves rest quietly. Houseplants soften sharp edges, making rooms feel as though they can breathe a little easier. Even without noticing them directly, their presence alters the atmosphere. Green becomes a background comfort, a reminder of something living and steady nearby. Nothing needs to happen. The space simply feels gentler. Certain plants feel familiar, even when you can't explain why. The scent of leaves, soil, or flowers can open old doors in the mind, bringing memories forward without effort. Memory often arrives quietly, tied to gardens, kitchens, childhood rooms, or walks taken long ago. These moments don't need analysis. They pass through gently, like bookmarks in time, offering nostalgia without sadness. Just recognition, then release. Plants live in our stories. Long before books, there were trees. Myths, art, and traditions across cultures have grown around plants, like vines wrapping through history. Trees became symbols of wisdom. Flowers marked seasons and ceremonies. These stories weren't rushed. They accumulated slowly, passed from one generation to the next, rooted deeply in shared experience. Across time, plants remained present, steady witnesses to human life. Some routines ask very little. Growing plants can be a quiet daily ritual, watering, turning a pot toward the light, brushing soil from your hands. Care can be slow and gentle, repeated without urgency. These small actions don't demand focus or perfection. They offer comfort through repetition, a soft rhythm that fits easily into daily life. Plants rarely show results right away. Time does the work quietly. Growth reflects accumulated care, light, water, and patience, measured in leaves rather than minutes. There's no instant reward, only gradual change unfolding at its own pace. This slow response encourages trust, a calm belief that small efforts matter, even when nothing seems to be happening yet. Some plants remember a much older world. There are species alive today that have changed very little for millions of years, often called living fossils. Time seems to flow around them rather than through them. Leaves unfold the same way they always have. Roots grow with familiar patience. Change here isn't urgent or required. Stability itself becomes a way of surviving. These plants remind us that growth doesn't always mean becoming something new. Sometimes it means continuing to be exactly what works, calmly and quietly, across deep time. Some forests were already old when cities began. Long before streets and buildings appeared nearby, trees were growing, shedding leaves, and growing again. Human time feels brief beside trees that have watched generations arrive and disappear. These forests don't judge that passing, they simply remain. Standing among them offers perspective without pressure, a sense that rushing is unnecessary when life unfolds on much longer scales. Nothing is really wasted in a forest. Fallen leaves gather on the ground, slowly breaking down and returning nutrients to the soil. What once reached toward sunlight becomes earth again, feeding future growth. Even endings have purpose here. Decay isn't rushed or unpleasant. It's gentle recycling, happening quietly beneath your feet. Renewal doesn't require effort. It happens naturally, one season blending into the next. Not all teamwork is visible. Beneath the soil, fungi and plants work together, exchanging nutrients through delicate underground connections. Help often arrives unseen, passed silently between roots and threads of mycelium. No one takes credit. No one keeps score. Support simply flows where it's needed. This hidden cooperation keeps entire ecosystems healthy, proving that strength doesn't always announce itself. Life often begins again quietly. After fires, floods, or landslides, plants are often the first to return. Small green shoots appear where everything once seemed empty. Recovery doesn't announce itself with noise or urgency. It unfolds gently, like a soft exhale after tension fades. Healing here is patient, steady, and unforced. Perfection isn't required in nature. Plant growth includes crooked branches, uneven leaves, and unexpected shapes. Irregularity can be beautiful. Nothing is corrected or erased. Everything is allowed to exist as it is. This natural acceptance carries a sense of ease, reminding us that balance doesn't come from flawlessness, but from allowing variation to remain. Some beauty exists without an audience. Wildflowers bloom in remote meadows, along quiet roadsides, and deep within forests where no one may ever see them. Blooming doesn't need attention. Color opens into the air, complete in itself, then fades again. There's something deeply peaceful in that, worth existing without being witnessed, beauty unfolding simply because conditions allow it. Even beauty knows when to rest. Flowers do not bloom forever. Petals eventually loosen and drift downward, their work complete. Nothing needs to last forever to have meaning. Impermanence here feels soft, not sad. Each bloom carries its moment fully, then makes space for what comes next. Endings arrive gently, without resistance. The future often sleeps inside small shells. After flowering, plants form seed pods or fruits to protect what comes next. These quiet cradles hold potential carefully, without worry. Protection doesn't need to be complicated or forceful. It can be simple, patient, and enough. Seeds wait safely, held until it's time to move on. Some journeys are accidental. Seeds travel by wind, water, and passing animals, carried far from where they began. Floating parachutes drift through the air. Burrs cling briefly, then fall away. Seeds don't choose their destination. They trust movement, allowing the world to decide where they might land. Travel here isn't planned. It's surrendered to. Not every beginning becomes a story. Many seeds never grow, and that's normal. Potential doesn't demand fulfillment. Some seeds rest indefinitely. Others nourish the soil. There's no failure in this. Acceptance exists naturally, without disappointment or regret. Life offers possibilities freely, without insisting they all be realized. Nature prefers abundance. Plants produce far more seeds than they will ever need, scattering them generously into the world. Enough is more than enough. This quiet generosity creates ease, ensuring that some life continues without forcing any single outcome. And from that abundance, the rhythm carries on, preparing the way for another gentle pause ahead. This is the deepest part of the night now. Imagine lying in a wide, quiet meadow beneath a dark sky. The stars are faint, almost blurred. Around you, plants are resting too. Nothing is growing quickly. Nothing is reaching or striving. The earth beneath you feels steady and supportive, holding everything without effort. Thoughts may come more slowly now, or drift apart before they finish forming. That's perfectly fine. You don't need to follow them. You don't need to do anything at all. Just rest here, breathing softly, while the world remains calm and still. From somewhere far away, the quiet story continues. Plants don't search for excitement. Many thrive best when conditions stay familiar and steady. Consistency can feel like comfort. Roots settle into soil they know, responding calmly to regular light, water, and temperature. There's no desire for sudden change. Stability allows plants to relax into growth, unfolding at a pace that feels safe. In this quiet preference for sameness, there's a reminder that peace often comes not from novelty, but from gentle repetition. Every place shapes what grows there. Plants are closely tied to the landscapes they inhabit, shaped by wind, sun, rain, and soil over countless seasons. Leaves curve or thicken in response to their surroundings. Stems lean with prevailing breezes. Plants belong deeply to their environments, without choice or conflict. This kind of belonging feels effortless, a quiet harmony between life and place, exactly as it is. Even small plants carry distant histories. Many familiar houseplants come from wild forests and jungles, where light filters softly through tall canopies. A windowsill can hold a forest memory. Though adapted to quieter indoor lives, these plants still carry traces of humidity, shade, and slow-growing rhythms from their origins. Wildness is softened, not erased, resting peacefully in everyday spaces. Plants don't interrupt. Some company asks for nothing at all. Sitting near a plant can feel like sharing stillness with another living presence. There's no conversation required, no expectation to respond. Just quiet companionship, rooted and calm. Togetherness here is gentle, offering comfort without demand, presence without pressure. Plants measure time differently. Watching them grow can stretch your sense of days and weeks, softening the inner clock. Growth teaches waiting. New leaves arrive when they're ready, not when you check for them. Time feels less sharp, less urgent, as patience becomes natural rather than forced. There is no hurry in nature. Plants do not rush toward any finish line. Their cycles repeat endlessly. growth, rest, renewal, without a final destination. Nothing is trying to arrive somewhere else. This absence of urgency offers a deep release from pressure, preparing the way for the quiet closing still ahead. Healing doesn't always look dramatic. Plants mend themselves patiently, growing new tissue where damage once appeared. A cut in bark slowly closes, layer by layer, like a gentle scar forming over time. There's no rush to erase what happened. Recovery unfolds quietly, almost invisibly, as days and seasons pass. This kind of healing doesn't demand attention. It simply continues, reminding us that repair can happen without urgency, without force, and without needing to look impressive. Protection can be soft and strong at the same time. Bark surrounds trees like a living shield, insulating them from cold, heat, insects, and injury. Each layer tells a small part of the tree's history, built up slowly through growth and response. Trees wear their experiences on the outside, not as burdens, but as care. Boundaries here aren't harsh or defensive. They exist to preserve what's inside, offering safety through steady presence. Trees remember without remembering. Scars in their trunks mark where branches broke or storms passed through. Survival leaves marks, but those marks don't weaken the tree. They become part of its structure. Wood grows around old wounds, adapting rather than erasing. Imperfection becomes endurance. These visible traces tell quiet stories of resilience held without emotion or regret. Letting go can be natural. Plants shed leaves, flowers, and sometimes branches when they're no longer needed. Release makes space for balance. There's no clinging here, no hesitation. Gentle goodbyes happen seasonally, allowing energy to be conserved and redirected. Loss isn't treated as failure, it's simply part of staying well. Enough doesn't have to be much. Some plants thrive with very little water or nutrients, surviving in sparse landscapes where resources are scarce. Their lives are beautifully simple, shaped by sufficiency rather than excess. Contentment exists without accumulation. What's available is enough. Plants don't worry about tomorrow. They respond only to what's present, the light that arrives, the moisture in the soil, the warmth or cold of the air. Presence is enough. There's no planning beyond the moment. This rooted attention offers a calm focus, gently opening into a wider sense of ecological peace. Not all success requires winning. Meadows are formed by cooperation, not competition. Many lives can share one space, weaving together like a living tapestry of stems and leaves. Different plants grow at different times, drawing from light and soil in ways that don't cancel one another out. Balance emerges naturally without struggle. Harmony is created simply by coexistence. Nature doesn't mind repetition. Seasonal cycles repeat year after year. Growth, flowering, rest, return. Cycles don't get tired. They don't seek novelty. Circles replace straight lines, offering comfort through familiarity. There's reassurance in knowing that what has happened before will happen again, gently, without stress. Plants make peace with shadow. They adapt to light and shade by adjusting leaf size, angle, and placement. Brightness is welcomed when it arrives. Shade is accepted when it doesn't. Light is taken gently, without grasping. Conditions are met with flexibility rather than resistance. Defense doesn't have to be loud. Some plants protect themselves with waxy coatings, textures, or subtle bitterness. Boundaries can be gentle, discouraging harm without aggression. Strength here doesn't involve conflict. It exists quietly, holding space without escalating. Plants are experts at waiting. Patience is built into their lives, layered slowly like soil over time. Growth timelines stretch across seasons and years, making endurance feel natural. Time becomes a partner, not an enemy. Slowness is expected. Night belongs to stillness. As darkness settles, most plants reduce activity, folding inward, resting quietly. Leaves close. Gardens become calm. Rest is natural here, and as plants settle into the night, they mirror the listener's own return to stillness, preparing for one last gentle pause. This is the moment just before sleep fully arrives. Picture a garden at midnight, barely visible now. Shapes are suggested rather than seen. A tree, a path, a patch of soil, all softened by darkness. Everything living has settled into stillness. Nothing is asking anything of you. Thoughts may drift in and out, unfinished and unimportant. That's exactly how it should be. The earth beneath it all feels heavy and supportive, holding everything without effort. You don't need to hold yourself together anymore. You can let go. And as the quiet continues, the story resumes almost imperceptibly, like a dream that never quite stopped. Plants make room. Sharing space can be gentle. Rather than competing aggressively, most plants adjust the way they grow, weaving leaves and stems around one another. If light is blocked, they lean slightly. If space narrows, they grow thinner or slower. Conflict isn't necessary. Adaptation replaces confrontation. This quiet coexistence allows many lives to share the same ground without struggle, reminding us that harmony often comes from flexibility, not force. More isn't always better. Balance keeps things steady. Too much growth can strain a plant, so many naturally limit themselves, shedding excess branches or slowing expansion. Trees prune themselves over time, letting go of what no longer serves stability. Growth finds its healthiest form when it's balanced, not endless. Enough becomes the goal, not more. Aging doesn't worry plants. Time moves without struggle. Rings grow outward inside trunks, one calm layer at a time. There's no fear of getting older, no attempt to hold on to youth. Aging is simply another phase of being alive. Each year adds depth, not loss. Peace settles into time itself. Nothing truly disappears. When plants decay, they soften back into soil, nourishing what comes next. Endings dissolve gently into beginnings. Leaves break down. Wood returns to earth. Life continues without interruption. Decay isn't dramatic or sad. It's a quiet transition, steady and complete. Even stillness has purpose. Fallen or dead trees remain where they are, becoming homes for insects, fungi, birds, and moss. Support can remain even after growth has stopped. Value isn't measured by activity. Presence alone can sustain others. Doing nothing can still matter. Simply standing, rooted, and being is a form of participation in nature. Presence is enough. And with that reassurance, the journey continues softly toward its final stretch. Plants never measure themselves. Nothing is keeping score. A seed rests in the soil without judging whether it has grown enough or fast enough. It either responds to its conditions or it doesn't, and both outcomes are equally acceptable. There is no concept of success or failure in plant life. Growth happens when it can, pauses when it must, and neither state carries meaning beyond the moment itself. This freedom from evaluation creates a quiet peace, a way of existing without pressure, where nothing needs to be proven. Slow growth still counts. Progress can be quiet. Some plants grow quickly, others barely change from one season to the next, and both are perfectly natural. Shoots may rise so slowly they're almost invisible, stretching time instead of racing through it. Growth is not compared against a standard. It unfolds according to light, water, and warmth, responding only to what is present. Slowness isn't a delay, it's simply a pace, and every pace is valid. No plant tries to be another. Difference exists without tension. Each leaf shares sunlight in its own way, shaped by its position, its genetics, its moment. Plants don't look sideways at their neighbors. They don't compete through comparison. Individuality is quiet and unremarkable, woven naturally into the landscape. This absence of comparison allows diversity to exist peacefully, without judgment or hierarchy. Complexity isn't always needed. Simple things can be enough. Plain soil, open sky, regular care. Many plants thrive best when conditions remain uncomplicated. Simplicity creates space for life to settle in. Nothing extra is required. Growth becomes easier when distractions fall away. Ease emerges not from abundance, but from clarity. Consistency builds life. Small, regular moments matter more than rare extremes. Gentle rain, steady dawns, familiar rhythms. Plants rely on what returns again and again. Comfort grows from routine. Stability replaces surprise. There's reassurance in knowing what comes next. Night belongs here. Darkness is not a problem to be solved, but a phase to be welcomed. Leaves rest in shadow. Activity slows, and everything prepares for renewal. The dark feels safe, necessary, complete. Roots explore quietly. Growth follows comfort. Underground, roots branch toward moisture and nutrients, sensing where conditions feel right. There's no forceful searching, no urgency. Roots move gently, pausing when the soil feels dry, continuing when it feels nourishing. Trust guides this growth. What supports life is sought naturally, without struggle. Plants never drift far. Being grounded is their natural state. Anchored in soil, plants remain steady through wind, rain, and time. Staying rooted brings calm. Stability is not restrictive, it's supportive. From this grounding, everything else becomes possible. Leaves may sway, but the foundation holds. Nothing is anticipated. This moment is enough. Plants experience the world one moment at a time, responding only to what arrives. Light touches a leaf, and the leaf responds. Moisture reaches roots, and growth adjusts. There's no waiting for tomorrow, no replaying yesterday. Presence exists without thought, complete and sufficient. Night restores balance. Darkness has a purpose. As daylight fades, plants reset their internal rhythms. Quiet pauses replace activity. Energy redistributes. Nothing is lost in this rest. It prepares the way for what comes next. Renewal happens gently, without effort. Quiet is natural. Silence holds life. Most of plant existence unfolds without sound or movement. A still garden at night contains just as much life as a moving one in daylight. Peace doesn't require stimulation. Stillness is full. Rest, boost, doesn't require effort. Nothing needs to be done. Plants rest without knowing they are resting. Leaves fold. Processes slow. Life continues quietly. And in that natural rest, the listener may notice their own breath slowing, their body following the same ancient rhythm. You're very close to sleep now. Words are still here, but they don't need to mean much anymore. Imagine a quiet indoor plant at night, its leaves barely outlined by moonlight through a window. The room is still. The air feels settled, as if it has finished moving for the day. Everything that needed to happen has already happened. There's nothing left to solve, nothing left to remember. You can let yourself sink into this sense of completion. Safe, held, gently surrendering effort. The sound of the voice fades in importance, becoming just another soft background presence. And when the story continues, it does so like a distant echo, already drifting away. Nothing is being worried about. Life can happen without thought. Plants exist fully without awareness, without stories about themselves, without inner noise. They function entirely in the present, responding quietly to light, water, and warmth. There is no internal dialogue asking whether they are doing enough or being enough. Quiet being is complete. This freedom from mental activity creates a deep calm, showing that existence does not require constant thought to be whole. Nothing is remembered. Plants do not replay the past or return to old moments. Each experience begins clean. A cold night passes. A dry spell ends. There is no holding on, no looping memory. What happened before does not linger. Release happens naturally, without effort. This absence of rumination allows every moment to stand on its own, untouched by what came earlier. Nothing is being planned. Tomorrow does not exist here. Plants do not anticipate the future or prepare emotionally for what might come. Growth responds to now, not prediction. Light arrives and leaves turn. Moisture reaches roots, and they respond. There are no waiting rooms for what's next. Peace exists in immediacy, grounded entirely in the present moment. Nothing needs to be proven. Simply existing is enough in nature. Standing trees and quiet fields contribute, Shraddha, by being present. They don't justify their place or measure their worth. Being is sufficient. This deep reassurance settles softly, offering permission to rest without explanation. Calm appears when nothing interrupts. Stillness waits underneath activity, like dust settling or water becoming smooth again. Calm is not created. It is revealed when effort fades. When reaching stops, peace remains. Rest is allowed. Nothing is holding on. Plants do not resist rest when it arrives. Leaves close. Darkness settles. Life continues quietly. And as plants release into night, sleep is gently invited to do the same. Nothing is ever truly lost. Over time, all plant life returns gently back to the earth. Leaves fall, soften, and slowly dissolve into soil, becoming part of the ground that once supported them. Stems break down. Roots loosen their hold. What looked like an ending becomes a quiet homecoming. Everything finds its way back, not abruptly, but gradually, in its own time. This return doesn't feel final or empty. It feels complete. There is comfort in knowing that nothing simply disappears. It changes form, settles in, and continues as part of something larger and calmer than before. Nature prefers circles. Plant life moves in cycles, not straight lines. Growth leads to rest, rest leads to renewal, and renewal leads back to growth again. Rings form inside trees. Seasons loop softly around one another, and nothing is ever meant to be finished forever. There is no single destination to reach. Instead, there is reassurance in return, familiar rhythms repeating without pressure. This circular motion offers relief from the idea that everything must move forward endlessly. Here, coming back is just as natural as going on. There is no rush anywhere here. Nothing in plant life hurries. Sap rises slowly through trunks. Shadows shift almost imperceptibly across leaves. Processes unfold over days, months, years, sometimes centuries. Time moves gently through leaves, never demanding speed. This slowness offers deep permission to release urgency completely. Nothing needs to be done quickly. Nothing is falling behind. Everything is exactly where it needs to be, moving at the only pace that matters. Nothing needs to be known. Life can be this simple. Plants rest completely without knowing they are alive, without identity or effort. A garden sleeps. Leaves are still. Roots remain quiet in the dark. Life continues, breathing softly, without thought or awareness. This is the deepest reassurance of all. Rest without thinking mirrors sleep itself. And as this simplicity settles in, it carries us seamlessly toward the quiet closing that follows. And now, the journey through leaves and roots and slow seasons can begin to fade. Not because it's finished, but because nothing more is needed. The feeling remains, soil holding roots, branches resting in darkness, cycles continuing without attention. Plants go on being exactly what they are, whether anyone notices or not, and you can do the same. If you remember parts of this story, that's fine. If you don't remember any of it at all, that's just as fine. You may already be asleep. And if you are, there's nothing here that needs you to wake back up. Your body already knows how to rest. It's been practicing all day, all night, all your life, just like plants do. Imagine the day gently dissolving now, the way leaves return to soil. There's no need to review it, no need to fix anything or prepare for what comes next. Everything that mattered today has already happened. Everything else can be released. Let it sink down, out of reach, becoming part of the background, no longer asking for your attention. If you ever choose to return, this space will still be here, quiet, patient, waiting without expectation. You're always welcome. But for now, there's nowhere else to go. So let your breathing continue naturally, slow, unforced. Let your body grow heavier, supported completely by whatever you're resting on. Like the plants outside, or the ones resting quietly on a windowsill nearby. You can rest without thinking, rest without effort, and let sleep arrive in its own quiet time. There's nothing left to listen for, nothing left to hold on to. Only the soft, steady calm that was already here, before the words, and will remain long after they fade.